Ever wonder what it takes to live a life creatively? So do we. That's why we're here, to find out what clever people do to succeed in the arts, business, and education. I'm Cecily Korst, and this is the Trailer Talks. We're interviewing artists and educators, musicians, and thought leaders, at home and on the road. So come on, it's going to be a good trip. Hey, welcome to the trailer. Come on in. So what advice do you have? What's your advice? What advice do you have for other people, to other people who are living a creative life, to live life creatively? What is the one thing you think everyone should know about living life creatively? Here are some answers from season 2.
I guess I'd tell them to stick with it, no matter what. It does take a long time. It's you grow and you get better and you change, and you have to stick it out for those changes and for those things that kind of make you grow as an artist. And don't get stuck in one genre, one role, one hyphenate. You know, you want to be this multi-dimensional person that can kind of keep moving, no matter what happens. So that's what I tell people, just keep going.
Believe in yourself, because any kind of self-criticism is just going to stop what you have to give as an artist. Any time you're kind of going, should I do that? I'm not sure if that's good enough, or someone's going to criticize me for that. That's holding back what you have to, your human touch. Whatever that is, that human touch is the masterpiece that is going to, change your life. So don't hold back.
To stay focused on not to lose the contact with reality, because creativity is you can go everywhere with your mind, okay? And sometimes you think that your creativity is not linked to the real life, and you are allowed to. It's not sometimes the most important thing is to have the respect for this very, very precious moment that we are living, that is life. Because if not, you risk to do something very quick and fast, and not to leave something significant.
Learn a little bit more about your craft. A lot of times people are talented and they think their talent can get them a certain distance, but it's okay to learn a little bit more about your craft. If you learn a little bit more about your craft, you'll understand maybe some technical aspects that you may be unaware of. There are plenty of people who can sing, but they're not great singers, and it's important to learn that. And so that doesn't necessarily mean you have to fall into the guise of education and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some people are scared of that. No, it just means learn. And I think that in life, we're all lifelong learners. If you start learning, there's no limit to people who potentially you might meet. And so I would tell people who want to become artistic to first embrace your individuality, and second, learn your craft.
Keep coming back to the passion and the purpose of what you're doing. So every time you hit a stumbling block, and you've got to come back to that. And there are different ways of doing that, but it's so easy, and I'm sure a lot of people go through this, to just slip back into a routine, just slip back into a way of life where making choices every day, whether it's a supermarket or what you're prioritizing in your inbox, or who you're reaching out to, or who you pick up Skype to or not, and it's so easy just to slip into a habit where you don't really think about these things. And it happens to me every week. And so it's learning the tricks that snap you out of it and remind you, or you get yourself to a space where you're going, actually no, that's not why we're doing this. So for me, it's always about scheduling, as well as finding spontaneous moments, things on a weekly basis where I go, I know this is going to connect me back to why we're doing it, back to the why, or why I'm doing this, and you do that on a regular basis, and you'll be fine. But I find if I go 3 or 4 days when I'm just dealing with an inbox or working on a development project online, then I'd start to lose that. I lose the creative part of my mind or interest disappears, and you start, but you can feel it dropping within you, and you're drinking more coffee, and so your health deteriorates. So you just gotta plan those things that you love as regularly as possible.
Do it. That's it. I have a lot of friends who say they're jealous of what I do, and it's uncomfortable to hear that. I'm very, very uncomfortable hearing that, because there's nothing stopping anybody from doing what they want to do. It's just themselves, Everything I've done on my own. It also comes how you treat people. The attitude monitors talent. That was something I was taught in acting class years ago, and it's something I've carried on to this day, is attitude monitors talent. You can be the most talented person in the universe, but if you have a shitty attitude about it, nobody cares. It's something that it's part of the whole thing, Sure, I could have burned bridges with a ton of people. My attitude could have been different being laid off from different places and whatnot. I could have chosen that route, but I didn't, because my attitude is different, and that has led to a much more fulfilling career.
I've gone through the whole system of auditions and being turned down, and I've had my embarrassments proposing ideas for television shows, and I had a meeting with what they call the suits, the guys who run the network, and in the conference room, and I stepped back to sit down, and I'd forgotten I'd moved the chair, and I sat on the floor instead. I blew it. I mean, the suits don't like to see a guy make a presentation and then fall on the floor. It's not a good way. I've had my embarrassments over the years too, but I have to laugh now, and I think laughter is the only tranquilizer without side effects.
Yeah, so you need to forgive yourself, because we judge ourselves based on the first time we do something, or based on some outcome. We get really disappointed in ourselves, or we get embarrassed or ashamed. Again, that's all that is a defensive and a protection mechanism. Mm-hmm. We're really just trying to protect ourselves from humiliation, from pain, from anything. Mm-hmm. But we have to understand there's a cost to that protection. It completely suppresses us. And the judgment, all the judgment is an excuse not to get outside our comfort zone. These are all just protective mechanisms. Mm-hmm. So if we understand that, if we have the awareness of it, then we can try to create a different perspective to say, okay, thank you for trying to protect me. I appreciate that. And your role needs to be diminished a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that. Look out for me. Make sure I'm not doing anything reckless. But at the same time, I need to get outside of this thing. I need to feel a little uncomfortable. I need to take some chances. It's all about taking a little bit of risk. And if we allow ourselves permission to fall down, or if we allow ourselves permission to feel uncomfortable, and we don't judge ourselves by how we are that first time, well, then we're going to be able to really allow ourselves to grow. Don't judge yourself by the first time you do something. Mm-hmm. Wait till the 100th. Then if you're not good, no, it's telling you something. But the first time, just to acknowledge yourself, applaud yourself for even being in the game.
Mm-hmm. Once you have and embrace something that's completely beyond your scope of imagination or your abilities, that means you have to go outside of that to get it. And once you go outside of that, guess what? You grow. And life is really about growth and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So once you step out, I'm just getting excited talking about it. Once you step outside of because most people live in a box. And once you decide to say, this isn't the box that I want to be outside of that. It's not necessarily you're trading one box for a bigger box. You're just trading for outside of that box. And once you do that, then you can have the delayed gratification to know I can get to this point. And I think that once you have that purpose to say I want to get outside of that, then you have growth. And that is what I challenge young people to do. step outside of your box.
So what I recommend for anyone is to understand what the cost is of staying where you are and really get clear on why and where you want to start heading towards. You don't have to know how. How will reveal itself along the way, but why and where? Even if it's fuzzy, just get a sense of what that might be so you can take one tiny step to get on that journey.
And to have the goal on the other end.
Have the goal on the other end, and the goal doesn't have to be this big, ambitious goal. You don't have to boil the ocean, right? But you want to have a direction that you want to head in. You want to really be clear on the value and what core values of yours it's aligned with, and then set a goal that you can then break into little steps to take there, and then you can set another goal and another goal. It's almost like a big project for your life. Better to have small victories than ambitious failure.
To all of our guests, Raegan Payne, Laurence Fuller, Paolo Troilo, Exavier Pope, Ben Keene, Josh Stecker, Alan Abel, and Mike Jaffe, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Cecily Korst. Join us for the next road trip.